Good package, good IP, good models, good core box in itself. The worst timing ever known to a business. Hello everybody, Andy from Glass Half Dead or Full Scale Wargaming, depending on where I've decided to put this video. Today I want to talk about Star Wars Shatterpoint. Now you might be thinking, Andy, I'm a total GW fanboy. What is Star Wars? Well, no, I'm not going to do a video where I explain what Star Wars is. That doesn't make any sense. Clearly I should have scripted this video a bit better. I want to talk about the game Star Wars Shatterpoint specifically. It's by a company called AMG, which used to be FFG, which is Fantasy Flight Games, which then transferred its miniature games over to Atomic Mass Games, who are a group of ex-Privateer Press game developers. There you go, that's all you need to know. These are the same guys that made Marvel Crisis Protocol and are now also in charge of the whole of FFG's Star Wars IP, X-Wing, Armada and Legion, as well as now Shatterpoint. I was sent the core box by asmodee and they said, hey, do you want this? And I said, yeah. And that happened, when I originally agreed to it, it happened like February, very early March, and it's kind of only just turned up. In fact, this turned up the day before I went to Warhammer Fest. And that's why right now you are getting an opinion piece, a talking head, instead of a how to play or a battle report. I'm halfway through a how to play script for Full Scale Wargaming, and I obviously am showing you grey models. So I think we can all understand that the content black hole that 10th edition has created unfortunately means that I have to focus my efforts elsewhere just for a little bit. So I just wanted to talk about the presentation, the package, a core box review, if you will. Hopefully at some point during this video I'm throwing over some sweet looking cinematic shots so that you can see everything. Let's start with me just talking about the package that you get. So Star Wars Shatterpoint is in a very cartoony style, right? This is it. If you look at this and you think, oh no, I want my Star Wars to be a little bit more serious, then the art direction of this isn't going to tickle your fancy. If, however, you like the kind of cartoony, more, if you will, Star Wars Rebels sort of vibe, then there's lots of amazing artwork in here. Like, it's on everything. I will say they've got like just really good art everywhere. It is very cartoony though. Now for me, I'm totally okay with that. I love the cartoonification of real life because it means that I can kind of disassociate from the world, and that really speaks to me, obviously, and it's just everywhere. So let's just quickly talk about the core box itself. It's good. I like it. You get a lot in here. I think you get 14 models, they say, or units, sorry. Characters? Units? As I say, I've written this bit in the how to play script, but it escapes me at the moment. I'm trying to learn other things right now. You get a lot here. You can, if you take it as a single player starter set to get you into the game, there's lots here for you. Like, this is going to keep you going for a long time because of just how many models you get. And the way list building in this works is you pick kind of one primary character, let's say Darth Maul, the absolute mad lad, and you can then take two other people along with him. So, you know, you'd say, okay, I want this dude here and whatever, I don't know. I don't know the models. And this dude here, great, that's one squad. And then obviously I want to pair Darth Maul with Anakin Skywalker, a natural friendly combination there. I don't know Star Wars lore. Okay, great, this lady with the head tails and this clone trooper. There you go, these are my two squads, and that's it. So this is what I would then take to a tournament, or to a regular game, whatever, and that's it. And then look how much other stuff I haven't used from the box. Because this is your squad. So each one of these is a squad, and they go together to make your strike team. Basically, there are several primary characters here, which is defined on their unit cards as to what they are. Oh, Ahsoka Tano's a primary unit. Well, she can't go with Anakin. Well, this video is just a comedy of errors, isn't it? My gosh. Anyway, so, you know, whatever. And that's it. So there's still so many models. And the list building in this is very interesting. So you can take Darth Maul and you can say, I want him to run with clone troopers today. And that's weird, right? But you can do that. Or you, I assume, I'd have to look at their data card. Or you can say, you know what? No, Darth Maul's feeling a little bit more separatist. He's going to run with 2 troopers, clone droids today. Great, that's what I want to run this time. Like the only real limit essentially isn't light side or dark side, it's era. So for example, this is all the same era. Anything here can go together, pretty much. However, once they release the Galactic Civil War era, aka the original trilogies, gosh, I hope I'm getting this right. So, for example, I wouldn't be able to take young Anakin and Darth Vader, right? That would be an illegal combination. But pretty much anything in this box can go together as long as it's not 2 primary units. There you go. So this is an incredibly flexible box. Now, is it, you know, good and strong and powerful? I've got no clue and I don't really care, to be honest with you. What I care is the game fun? Would I enjoy putting it down, looking at the cool models? And that's about it. I don't know. There you go. That's the crux of the problem. You might be looking at this board and saying, oh, there's a lot of grey on there. And I'd agree there is a lot of grey on there. But that doesn't stop me from playing the game, except it does. I'm not going to play Star Wars and play with grey models. I wanted to get all of this fully built, fully painted, do some awesome looking shots for you. These are lovely models. They're bigger than like regular GW stuff. Hold on, I've got a Primaris here. So they're about a head taller than a regular Primaris, but they're also a realistic proportion, so they just look different. They're all on like large 40mm bases, apart from the droids that are on 50s, maybe? Big bases anyway. And they just look good. I'm pretty sure that contrast paint is going to work beautifully on them, no issues at all. The gameplay, like most skirmish games these days, is pretty simple and it's cool. You know, you activate, then the other guy activates. In each of your activations, you can perform 2 actions, you know, a move and a shoot, a move and a force, whatever, I don't know, attack. And you just have to hold points and kill dudes. And how do you win the game? They have a little bit of an interesting thing. You don't have defined turns. You have something called a momentum tracker. And your goal is to get enough cubes so that you place a cube where on the enemy's side, essentially. And once you've done that, you win a struggle, which is one of these. There are no secondary objectives, but you have constantly shifting primary objectives, basically. You also have something called an order deck. This is, you take all of your cool characters and you put them together into a deck, and that creates how you decide who you activate. So you don't just get to activate anybody and make always the best decision. You're going to have to play around sometimes activating things that are happening not where you want them to happen. The game is designed to give you a lot of, I'm going to say randomness. I don't mean this in a bad way, but like, you won't always be able to do exactly what you want to do. You obviously have dice. We're always used to dice games. So we do understand randomness in games. But we then add in the order deck, and that gets a little bit more complicated. And we then add in the struggles, which can be different every time, and sometimes within the struggles you don't know which objectives are going to be what. I think there's a lot of room to have a lot of fun in this game. And we've already seen a lot of the expansions outside of this, and I do think that if you just love Star Wars, this could be really quite fun for you. The core of the game is simple to learn. There are very scary, complicated things like, for example, what's this? Why is it double-sided? What are these branches doing? What? This is actually super simple, and I wish somebody had explained it to me before I went and got scared. All this is when you activate your model, you decide if you want it this way or this way. And basically, these are different weapons. So do you want to be doing lots of damage this turn, or less damage but you get better defense? And then do you want to go up or down? Well, they have different effects. One of them is going to move you more, whereas one of them is going to put more debuffs on the enemy. And then on this side, essentially the same, except it takes you longer to get there because you're mainly doing more damage than status effects on the enemy. And that's it. It's just, how do you want to interact on the board? Do you want to be doing lots of damage, trying to kill models, or do you want to be pushing them out of the way so that you can score objectives? Simple. If you're thinking of kill team, you know you can take a gunner, and you can take every gunner on your roster, but you have to decide before you go in there, do you want the melter, the plasma, or the flamer, or the grenade launcher? Well, this is that, except you get to decide every activation. You say, this turn, I need the plasma. Great. Flip the card, I'm on the plasma. Do I go up or down? Well, this one's the flamer, this one's the melter version, right? So let's go over it. Cool models, potentially interesting rule set. What more do you need, actually? Like, genuinely cool. Now, I can't tell you how the game actually plays because I do not have time right now to play the game. Can't even finish hobbying. That's something I'm going to work on. At some point in the future, I will be doing how to play and a battle report, but there's the obvious content black hole of 10th edition right now. So this would unfortunately fall on deaf ears, and that is the final point I have to make. The quality of this game is irrelevant because the release date is smack bang on 10th edition, and I'm genuinely annoyed. So I reached out to asmodee. I said, hey, you know, as soon as they announced Star Wars Shatterpoint, I reached out and said, oh, this looks awesome. I'd love to play. Can you send me a box? And eventually they said, yes, here you go. But by the time they managed to say, yes, here you go, and get it in my hands, it was the day before Warhammer Fest, and I didn't have any time. And neither does anybody else. Because from a content creator perspective, you'd be crazy. You either are an AMG exclusive channel, or you put out so many videos every day that you can afford to have one fall into the void, or you're a Shatterpoint / Star Wars exclusive channel. Now, obviously, Star Wars is a huge IP. I understand that, but it's not a huge miniatures game IP. That is a huge difference here. And of course, we recently had the weird upset where Armada has somehow managed to make it into the top 10 sellers of miniature games, right? Which is super weird, but those are cool big ships that are pre-painted. That is a slightly different audience from a collector's perspective than this, which are cool big miniatures, but they're not painted. This requires hobby, this requires a certain level of buy-in from whoever, right? But even then, to be fair, I'm pretty sure that the people buying that stuff for collectors aren't going to add to the people that play the game, so to me it's not exactly relevant. I believe that due to the release date of Star Wars Shatterpoint, this game will be dead on arrival. And I'm legitimately sad, because I had planned a lot of content around Shatterpoint that would now be silly for me to do. I will still do it, but it's going to be after 10th edition launches, and I've done all of my thinking and thoughts about that on Full Scale Wargaming, which is a channel that I intend to be a 10th edition channel. So to get Star Wars Shatterpoint the month before 10th edition launches just means that I can't really do anything. I genuinely believe that if this game had launched 6 months earlier, where, let's be honest, GW wasn't doing a huge amount when it comes to their main IP, this could have been a really big, well-received game. If they launch it in a year's time, this could have been a really big, well-received game. Releasing any game around 10th edition is just a bad business decision. And I don't know what they were thinking. Like, very genuinely, they should have held off for at least 6 months. Just hold it in your warehouse, say, sorry guys, there's delays, The delay is we don't want the game to fail as soon as we launch it. It is going to be so hard for them to get any sort of marketing buzz or advertising push in the space that they want, which is miniature gamers, because 10th edition is launching. Now you might be thinking, yes, Andy, but look, hey, I'm a miniature gamer and I don't care about 10th and I'm actually really interested in Shatterpoint, and that's great. Awesome, please go and buy it, check it out. I do think that if you're a fan of Star Wars at all, these are awesome models. So you will enjoy you will enjoy this end product. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm purely talking about the majority of people and this release date. And let's be honest, I'm probably right. So what does that mean? So that means that this game isn't going to have a big explosion and massive audience straight out of the gate. That means that this is going to have to slowly build itself up. That's not impossible. Certainly Marvel Crisis Protocol did exactly that. It wasn't some massive explosion onto the scene. It took several expansion boxes until anybody really noticed it and people started talking about it and it started getting into people's collective consciousnesses. Now, pretty much everyone in the skirmish space knows Marvel Crisis Protocol. And for me personally, I don't like the Marvel IP at all, but I do like the Star Wars IP. But how long is it going to take Star Wars Shatterpoint to reach that level of notoriety? One would hope it happens faster. We've got Star Wars, there's a lot of dedicated Star Wars fans, and these are good models that a lot of collectors might want, but how many are going to convert into wargame players? I don't know. Anyway, that's all I can really say on my thoughts on the box itself and why, unfortunately, I kind of suspect it's going to be a little bit dead on arrival as a game. I will revisit this in a month or two once 10th edition hype has died down, once I find a little bit of hobby time for myself, etc, etc. And I do hope to still do a how to play and a battle report at the very least. But that will have to wait. Anyway, chaps, what do you think? Am I right? Is this game dead on arrival because of the content black hole that is 10th edition? Or am I wrong and this has its own completely separate yet valid and apparently unfound so far market? Good package, good IP, good models, good core box in itself, the worst timing ever known to a business.